Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over Waking the Trolls and my current favorite deck that I've made using this card. So, let's get into it. Have been with previous sets and expansions of late. And so I feel like it would be good to let you guys know what's going on. So I'm not any less interested in playing the game or uploading videos. I have no less passion than I did before about this game. I love this game, and I am going to continue making content for the game. But my wife and I actually just recently sold our house about like a week and a half ago. And so we sold the house, and then we're buying a new house, and so we've been doing all of this moving prep during the limited free time that we have. And when I say limited free time, I mean from about 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. every day. So following the coming back from the holidays, I'm a teacher. My work has been like, the cat's coming to say hi. Super crazy, like to the extent that I actually haven't had like any reasonable semblance of a break during my workday for like consistently for like a few months now. And then on top of that, my son started these weekly appointments that he has to do 4 days a week that go from right as I get out of work for 2.5 hours until I'm supposed to be making dinner for the family. So the time that I used to be recording has turned into time that I'm now spending doing things that I have to do for the family. So once the move is done, I'll be in a little bit better place time-wise. I'm hoping to be able to pump out some more content for you guys. But until then, I'm probably on a 2 to 3 video a week sort of rotation. So just, if you're wondering, like, where's all my Nalthazar content, right? Like, why am I not getting, like, you know, every other day at least uploads from Kaldheim? That's sort of what's going on. And then the other piece is just, I don't actually have a whole lot of Kaldheim yet. And so this, like, I haven't found like too many things that are like super strong video worthy, as I just don't have too many cards from the set yet. So as my set fills out and as we finish our move and all of that kind of stuff, it'll go a little bit easier. So anyways, quick update about the channel. If you aren't interested in all of that, then you skipped. Well, here's Waking the Trolls. So Waking the Trolls is an absolutely phenomenal card. It is quite possibly my favorite card that I've played with so far in Kaldheim. Not like the Prismatic Bridge in terms of strength, but just that it's a really fun card, and I love the flavor of the card through and through again. So it's an 18 mana support. It's a saga. It's a 3-chapter saga. So by 3-chapter, I mean it's got 3 different chapters. The first chapter, you're going to destroy an opposing land support, and if you can't, you're going to destroy 8 gems of your opponent's planeswalker colors. For the second chapter, you're going to return up to the first 2 land supports from target player's graveyard to the board under your control. So you're going to start getting more lands on your side, either if you've destroyed lands of your own, or if that first chapter has destroyed a land, or just your opponent has milled, or you've destroyed some of their supports. Whatever it may be, you've got a chance to get more lands on the battlefield under your control. And that is important because for the third ability, you're going to create X Troll Warrior tokens. X is the number of different land supports you control. These Troll Warrior tokens are some beastly little tokens, let me tell you. They're 6/6 defenders. So if you can get a whole bunch of Troll Warriors down, you're able to do some dirty, dirty things. There are a number of other cards from Kaldheim that are land-based that let you like steal people's lands and do different shenanigan-y giggly things. And so I thought, you know what I need to do? I need to make a Waking the Trolls deck. I need to try this out. And from my first match, I was hooked. I love this card. So the idea with this card is you want to have as many lands out as possible. And so for that, you're going to want to really get a lot of use out of land forming. So if you have a large collection of land forming cards, then you can try different tinkering ways of making a version of this deck. You will see that I'm using 6 cards that have land forming. I'm using 3 pathways, and this is a Tamiyo Field Researcher deck. So I'm using Tamiyo so that I have all of my abilities locked up and I'm able to ideally draw into Waking the Trolls more. Because of the pathways and the Avatar of Growth, my goodness, that cat won't. She's just like, you know what I need to do? I'm gonna mess with your video, man. I'm gonna do it. So the pathways are not only going to serve as gem conversion on their own, but because of land forming, you're going to get 2 lands out of it, right? You're going to get the land that you play, like in this case, the Henge pathway. And then if you activate the land forming, you're also going to get the Mist Gate pathway as well. So you're going to get 2 lands for it. With Branch Loft, same deal. You're getting both Branch Loft and Boulder Loft. And with Bark Channel, you're getting Bark Channel and Tide Channel. So by having these 3 lands in my deck, I'm actually able to have 6 lands on the battlefield at a time. Then with Seagate Restoration, I've got additional card draw, and then that card draw is going to be able to make me that Seagate Reborn token. The Turn Timber Symbiosis is going to give me the Turn Timber Serpentine Wood land token, which will also enable me to fetch Avatars of Growth, and when the Avatar of Growth comes in, it's going to be fetching 2 lands and putting them on the battlefield, and converting gems based on my green mana bonus, which, by the way, with Tamio's 3rd ability, gets super nutty because it boosts by 12 for 2 of my turns every time I use it. And so then finally, to cap it off for lands, we've got Ondu Inversion. So I'm running this instead of Ruinous Ultimatum because A, it can provide me with another land, and B, when you destroy everything, you're destroying all creatures and non-land supports. It can affect vanguards. So really, you're just going to be destroying all the non-land things. And with this deck, if you're destroying all the non-land things, that's kind of okay because your goal is to build up as many lands as possible. Now, I mentioned that Kaldheim also has cards that let you get more of like that whole land steely thing going, and that's going to be this Amon Keel. I'm going to be making a separate video on the Amon Keel because this card is a phenomenal card. It is definitely, there are so many different uses for it, but I really like its place in this deck. So the Amon Keel is one of our new Herald cards. It's a 15 mana support, and it is blue. And at the end of your turn, if you control a creature, then fetch the first land support from your opponent's library and move it directly under the board under your control. If there are no land supports in your opponent's library, then you're going to go ahead and convert 3 gems to loyalty. So you're going to really quickly know if your opponent has any lands in their deck or not, because you're going to either A, start converting gems to loyalty, or B, you're going to start stealing their lands. And since you have a very nifty, right, 9 ways of making lands in the deck, between 6 from the pathways and then 1 from each of Turn Timber, Seagate, and Ondu, that means that if your opponent's running any lands, you're going to be able to have 10 or more lands on the battlefield at any given time. And the importance of having 10 or more lands on the battlefield at any given time is that when you get to Chapter 3 of Waking the Trolls, that means that you're going to be able to get down up to, at least from this deck, you're going to be getting down up to 9 of these Troll Warrior tokens, which means that getting to Chapter 3 is going to give you a 54/54 Defender token. If you've managed to steal any of your opponent's lands, then it's going to come out even larger. If you have multiple Waking the Trolls in your hand that you can drop on the same turn to activate that 3rd saga more times, then you're going to be getting these massive stacks of trolls down, and it's really, really fun. The final addition to the deck is the Prismatic Bridge. The Prismatic Bridge is kind of like an amazing card to add to this deck just because at the beginning of your turn, you're going to fetch the first support that is a Herald or the first creature or the first Vanguard from your library and put it into play directly under your control. So that means that the bridge is either going to be fetching itself, it's going to be fetching the Amon Keel, which is going to be fetching your opponent's lands, or it's going to be fetching an Avatar of Growth, which is going to be converting gems and fetching lands from your deck and putting them directly on the battlefield. So the whole idea here is you're going to be getting floods of mana and tons of trolls. And yes, you are going to be trolling and hating, and your opponents are going to be smacked down and dirty. It's going to be beautiful. The only downside to this deck is that you don't have heavy removal because Ondu Inversion is your only removal card. And then the other one is really just that since you're running Waking the Trolls for the tokens, you've got 4 creatures in the deck between the Avatar of Growth, the Prismatic Bridge, the Amon Keel, and Waking the Trolls, right? Because the Amon Keel's flip side is going to be Cosima, God of the Voyage, and the Prismatic Bridge's flip side is going to be Asika. So you just need to decide which 3 creatures you want on the battlefield. One of them is definitely going to be Avatar of Growth. One of them is definitely going to be the Trolls. My final suggestion would probably be, well, I don't know. I go either way depending on the match and which one has more reinforcements, to be honest. So let's go ahead, jump into the gameplay so you can see what it looks like in action, and let's go. Alrighty, so these are actually going to be my very first 2 matches using this deck. And I felt like they were just such a perfect indication of how this deck plays and what you can do with it, that they were going to be the matches that I decided to upload. My first match here is up against Bolas. Bolas can be pretty scary of a Planeswalker. And the early game objective here is to try and just get as many lands down as possible. Getting an early game Prismatic Bridge is always amazing. You'll see that I've gotten an Homunculus out of it already. And so since I've got 2 Waking the Trolls in my hand, I'm actually going to go ahead and let one of them drop, try and start making it so that I can get some troll tokens going, and then destroy some of Bolas's gems. Since Bolas is a 3-color walker, that's going to destroy quite a few gems. See if I can't get to my 3rd ability, get some more mana going, and all of that good stuff. So, Prismatic Bridge gave me a Homunculus. Now it's giving me the Cosmina, the Homunculus creature side. So, I've got 2 different pathways in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and actually check the lands that I have on the battlefield to see if I've already got one of those pathways down with shields. So I've got that Branch Loft in my hand. No. Okay, so I'm using my 3rd first here. So I've got the Henge Gate, I've got Branch Loft. So here I definitely want to try and get Turn Timber Symbiosis down. I want to get that Turn Timber Symbiosis down because if I'm able to play that, then I'm going to be able to get an Avatar of Growth. And getting an Avatar of Growth is just going to be able to give me so much mana from the gem conversion that I really want to target that. That said, if I can improve my land state also, maybe that will make it so that I'm able to convert into one of my gem matches, and then that'll be gravy. So there you'll see that I actually got a loyalty match at the end of the turn, and that tells me that Bolas is actually not running any lands in their deck because the Homunculus is converting gems to loyalty instead of stealing lands. The Prismatic Bridge is going to go ahead and give me an Avatar here, and then you'll see that Chapter 3 is activating from our beautiful Waking the Trolls. So the Trolls have awoken. I do want to actually make sure that I go ahead and play the second Waking the Trolls from my hand, and I want to make sure that that happens before there's any opportunity for my Waking the Trolls to break from gem conversion. So here I'm just debating which match I want to make, and then ultimately checking out some of the shield counts on the cards, and then finally making the decision that I do want to play Waking the Trolls before the Turn Timber, just in case an Avatar comes down and does horrible things to my board state. So I don't want horrible things to happen to my board state. So okay, I'm going to take the green match. I'm going to go ahead and play a pathway. I'm going to play the bridge. The bridge lets me put down a Sika, but because of what I've got down on the board right here, I really don't actually want a Sika down. I'm going to play another Waking the Trolls, and if you're unfamiliar with how sagas work, that second casting of Waking the Trolls just immediately came into play on Chapter 3 since my saga was on Chapter 3, and so that meant I got to sort of jump straight to Chapter 3 for Waking the Trolls. I'm getting a whole bunch of Avatars of Growth down, which is converting a heck of a lot of gems. And then the Homunculus is going to go ahead convert for me. And I've got a 66-66 defender down on the battlefield. So unless Bolas removes that thing, Bolas is going to die in 2 turns. It's just like you ramp so quickly with this, guys. It's so deadly. It's beautiful. And then not just that, but now our Cosmina is actually drawing us a ton of cards because of the shield count on our supports. We got a 22 shield support. So that's and we got a whole bunch of lands down. Cosmina's just drawing us so many cards. I've got all these Ondu inversions, but I really don't need them here. I don't need the other Homunculus. I've got this Waking the Trolls in my hand, which I really wish I could play to get to Chapter 3. I'm going to use my 3rd ability to draw some more cards, but unfortunately there's really nothing that I'm going to be able to do to get another Chapter 3 down unless Bolas kills my Trolls. So I'm going to be targeting the Turn Timber so that I can try and get more Avatars of Growth down. But in doing this and getting the Avatar and converting all of these gems and getting a whole bunch of mana and getting the other Waking the Trolls down, getting some more lands, all of that goodness, all that's doing for me is getting me to my 3rd ability again, but it's not going to make it so that Bolas is going to live any longer. So it's not like I'm actually going to be able to activate that Waking the Trolls again. So this is the end for Bolas. Really, there's really nothing that I can do to help him out apart from like playing a Prismatic Bridge and then killing one of my creatures so that I don't kill him. But I really didn't want to do that. I figured I might as well just hop on to the next match because I think I've got terminal damage down, right? Yeah. So I've got 100 like 15 damage down or something like that right here. So the Avatar is going to boost that to like 122. Bolas has 114 health. And so that's all she wrote. I get another Cosmina down there. I could be actually completely getting this wrong, and the Amon Keel's other side is not Cosmina. I think it's Cosmina. But I don't want Estika to come down. This pause here is just me thinking, like, do I want it? But no, I don't. I just want to kill Bolas. So that's game 1. Let's go ahead and jump to game 2. Game 2, we're up against Sarkhan Fireblood. I've got the option here of Avatar of Growth, a land, and the Seagate Restoration. That's pretty fantastic because that means that I've got gem conversion, I've got lands, and I've got myself card draw in my hand. So that means that I'm looking at, ideally, a pretty straightforward match. I've got a Turn Timber, which is also really nice. Turn Timber is going to be great because it's going to get me more avatars, and the more avatars of growth that I get down, the more lands I'm going to have on the battlefield. So I'm just looking through the matches. I'm trying to figure out if there are any ways for me to get double matches, because I'm trying to also get to my third ability as quickly as I can too, on top of all of the other goodness that's happening here. And so I'm trying to be mindful of that as I'm making my matches. So I get two lands. Unfortunately, they don't come in with the land forming as they enter. You have to cast them for them to enter with land forming, and they just get fetched and put directly onto the battlefield. So I mean, that's a little bit unfortunate, but it's really not that big of a deal, because now I've got gem conversion down, permanent gem conversion, and I've got 2 lands down. So that's a pretty big win for me. So I right away get a match in my colors. That's great. I do want the Amon Keel to come down pretty soon, because I want to start trying to steal Sarkhan's lands. And as Sarkhan is a monocolor planeswalker, I really don't... I think it's likely that the Sarkhan is going to be playing with lands in his deck, and if he's not, then I really don't know what he's doing with his life. But yeah, so okay, so he's got the Mox and Whirlwind of Thought. That tells me it's possible that they aren't running lands, even though if you're running the Mox, you really should be running lands, because that's going to enable you to do good stuff with your Mox that consistently, which you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. I've got a red into green match. I'm not taking it here just because I've got the Turn Timber coming down, and I'm kind of hoping that I'll get that as a green match, which I don't get. So I got a little bit greedy. Shame on me. But this Avatar of Growth is going to work out. I'm going to dump some of my hand so that I can use my third ability, see what I get. I do have these Ondu inversions, and so you're actually going to see me use an Ondu inversion to get rid of that Avaricious Dragon. Now, I do done goof here. I do make a mistake. You'll see that I didn't freeze down the second Ondu inversion in my hand. I made a few mistakes in this match, but that's one of them. I should have absolutely frozen that thing down, because now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wipe the board. And then I'm going to play things, and I'm going to wipe my own side again. So I get my Amon Keel down like I wanted. I get the Avatar of Growth down again, which is going to get me even more lands with more shields, which is great. But then I am going to undo inversion and just pop my side. On the plus side, I did have that Seagate Restoration to just redraw my hand, so it's not going to be the end of the world. And I have so many lands down that it's going to make it so that I'm going to be converting gems. So I learned from my mistakes pretty quickly. I freeze down that undo inversion. Undo inversion, just for if you haven't used it before, doesn't give you a confirm cancel prompt. So there was a part of my soul that was hoping that it would do that, but it does not. Like I said, these were my first matches with it. But here you're going to see Waking the Trolls finally comes down. I've got Amon Keel and the Prismatic Bridge down here. I've already got my third ability again. Things are looking good. Unfortunately, though, I did convert Loyalty, and I'm seeing the Skyclave Relic. This tells me that Sarkhan is not running any lands of his own, which makes me a little bit of a sad panda. I'm going to go ahead and throw away the Ondu inversion. I just want to keep drawing with my third ability here and try and get as many Waking the Trolls as possible and charging them up, because I've got that Waking the Trolls on the battlefield right now at Chapter 2. So next turn it'll be at Chapter 3. So the more Waking the Trolls that I have at Chapter 3 that I can cast, the better. So I've got a whole bunch of mana. I've got big boosts because I've used my third ability on back-to-back turns here with Tamio. So I'm going to take the blue match to get another Avatar of Growth down. It's just going to give me all the mana in the world that I want. Unfortunately, you'll see that I lost a green support at the bottom, and this is my second misplay of the match. So I draw out. I get that. I get another Waking the Trolls right there, and it's so wonderful, guys. I've got all these Waking the Trolls. Look at this. I got 3 of them in my hand. 3 of them. That means that this could be the turn where we get 3 Waking the Trolls down on Chapter 3. Look at this. I am so excited for 3 Waking the Trolls Chapter 3. So I'm checking all of my supports here to make sure that I've got that Waking the Trolls on the battlefield. And, oh no, I destroyed my Waking the Trolls. It's not at Chapter 3. But fortunately, I am at least big-brained enough to know that I should check my supports before I go out and play 3 of them to try and get Chapter 3. So I did see that my Waking the Trolls did break. So I am going to be able to just stock 2 of them up in my hand. I am going to play 1 of them just so I can get those chapters rolling again. Unfortunately, it gets put on a red gem and then pings itself down to 3 shields. But 4 shields is a pretty generous amount of shields for Waking the Trolls, if I'm being realistic here. And I'm getting closer to my 3rd ability again with Tamio. The Homunculus matching the loyalty gems for me is definitely helping. And with that, I am indeed at my 3rd ability again. So this is going to be Chapter 2 of Waking the Trolls. So that's popping up here. We're getting another Asika. And now at this stage, I don't want to pop the board. I do want to get as many lands onto the battlefield as I can. So I will be using my 3rd ability. I get another Waking the Trolls. Oh, this is going to be such a good game, guys. This means that I should be getting down 4 Chapter 3s of Waking the Trolls. I should have Waking the Trolls Chapter 3 trigger 4 times next turn. So let's see if we can make that happen. So Sarkhan does not destroy it. This is perfect. This is what we came for. This is what we wanted to see. How big are these trolls going to be? How many trolls are going to enter the battlefield? That's the question here, right? So Waking the Trolls is triggering. We're going to go ahead and replace our Asika with the Troll Warriors. And the first Waking the Trolls gives us 8 Troll tokens. So maximum number for the deck is 9. But we're getting 8 from this, which is pretty perfect. I was kind of debating running the Turn Timber and letting it come in, but I didn't want to accidentally destroy it again. So that means that we're going to be getting another 24 Troll Warrior tokens down here. And since they're coming in at 6/6, that's a lot of power. I think it's like 144 power that's additionally going to be entering the battlefield from them, if my quick math is correct. But here come the trolls. And I know that Sarkhan's at 14 health, so he's not going to be able to take this punishment from the trolls themselves. But there's just this part of me that feels really good about getting 192 power and trolls down. So that's the deck. That's the gameplay. Let's conclude. So what I really like about this deck is that it's really consistent. I feel like that gameplay was just a perfect representation of the deck because you're converting gems out the wazoo, you're getting a ton of lands down, you're drawing an incredible amount of cards between the Restoration and the Avatar, Prismatic Bridge fetching things, Homunculus ideally fetching things. But the great thing about it is that even if like some of your pieces aren't working perfectly, even if Waking the Trolls Chapter 2 is not stealing lands from your opponent, even if the Homunculus is not stealing lands from your opponent, you're still able to get enough down on your side that you can do wacky things, like get almost 200 power of trolls down. So I've had more fun playing this deck than I have any other deck since Kaldheim has released. I'm really enjoying it. If you have Waking the Trolls, I would love to see what decks you guys come up with and make. I'd be genuinely interested to hear what's the biggest troll stack that you make. So if any of you are able to make a troll stack bigger than my second match, please go ahead and join my Discord. Send me a screenshot of that. If you're already in my Discord and you choose to take up this challenge, let me know. I'm interested in seeing how big your troll stack gets. Modifier for the challenge: you can't use anything else to buff the trolls apart from just the troll stack. So you can't be like, hey, I'm going to colossification these trolls like 1,000 times. It's got to just be like the trolls themselves. So I love this. I hope that you do too. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you in the next one.